Hey guys, welcome back. I'm BJ, this is Brickhouse Builds, and in this video I have a really good update, something really positive here. We have got a plate on the GS550 here. Got this thing for free, it had no title, and I went through the Vermont title process. So in this video I'm going to walk you through everything that I did and what it took to transfer from a non-titled bike to a fully titled legal bike in Missouri. So anyway, stick around, I got a lot of information in this one. Alright guys, so because this is going to be kind of just boring office type stuff, we're actually in my office, and I'm going to go over the costs associated and the steps associated with going from nothing to this glorious Missouri title for the GS. So, to kind of recap, I got the bike for free. It was given to me by a friend who had it since the 80s, and he never ended up titling it when he bought it in the probably mid 80s, and the person that he bought it from had passed away. He was an older man, so anyway, he never put it in his name, and therefore I felt it was safe to go ahead and just do a Vermont title or Vermont registration route versus say like a bonded title or anything like that. If you guys remember, I bought a Bandit 1200, and I had a big fiasco with trying to get a title for that thing, basically due to a crucial piece of information that was left out. So anyway, in this instance, I felt that it wasn't necessary to do like a record search or anything like that, because I had a good history on the bike and I had a trustworthy source I was getting that history from. So basically, if you're going to go down this route with the Vermont title process, you need to make sure you do your checks, make sure the bike's not stolen or there's any kind of weird issues with it. So just with anything you're doing, make sure you do that first. So because this one was a unique situation, I felt very confident in it. So anyway, what Vermont requires, and the whole reasoning behind this, Vermont doesn't issue titles for vehicles older than 15 years. So what they provide is a registration, and that registration acts as an ownership document that you can then transfer into your state as a title. Like usually you would submit a title and a bill of sale when you purchase something that you want to transfer. Well, the registration acts as that form of ownership, or acts as the title. So that's why you might see it as sometimes labeled as like a loophole, and it's really not a loophole. It's just it's a legal thing. Maybe not every state, and in Missouri it is. So throughout this video I'm going to be referencing some different things, but most of this information, in fact all of this information, can be found at cartitles.com, and that's the source I used for all of this information to do myself. This is the first time I ever tried it, and it went smooth. So let's dive in. Okay, so to start the Vermont title process, here is what they're going to be looking for. Now, because they're issuing you a registration and therefore license plate, what they're going to be assuming is that this vehicle is in good running order. So this causes some potential issues for maybe if you guys are like me. I got this bike for free. It obviously didn't run when I got it, and it kind of a piece of crap. So for them to assume that it's on or in good operating condition, you need to kind of make some adjustments here. So what they require is there's basically, like any state, there's going to be basically a documentation fee, and then to go with your registration application, you're going to need to put in basically like value of the bike, and then you're going to have a bill of sale to go with it. So what they require is a reference for, like, let's say NADA or KBB, motorcycle values, or whatever you're trying to title. So on mine, as far as value, in poor condition, it was like $465, and obviously I think the bike was maybe even below poor condition, doesn't have a title, so it gets kind of murky there. But what Vermont wants to see is that this vehicle is ready for their roads, and this is very important. So what I did to make it more comfortable or more straightforward for them is I did put that the good value or the fair value, which was $760. Now I want them to think that this is a ready to go vehicle. So I put it at the at the good value on NADA, which I found was cheapest versus KBB. So good value, $760. That's going to be on my bill of sale and my my Vermont registration application. So the $760 is going to go into how they price the taxes or the taxes that you're going to pay on your application. So for me, there was a $48 just 1 year registration. That's just kind of a flat fee. So $48 for a motorcycle, and these rates vary per what you're doing. So on top of that 48, my taxes I put as $45.60, and that was based off of the $760 or the value that I paid along with the purchase price. And I put the purchase price at $400, which is towards the fair market value. Again, this is just to make sure there's no red flags. They don't have any like, well, you got that thing for free. You know, obviously you got to pay taxes on something. Just pay them their money. They're providing you a service, and they're making your life a whole lot easier. So I went ahead and I just made sure I paid more up front just to dull any kind of confusion or red flags. So basically, all in all, for the Vermont side, I paid $93.60. And again, that was the flat fee on the registration application, along with the taxes associated with that. Those taxes, again, based off the value that the bike has, along with what you say you paid for it. So obviously in recent years, people mess this up for everybody. They just put, oh, I got it for free. They put like $1, like the Price is Right meme you guys say, or you guys see whenever I go to the DMV, $1, Bob. No. So that kind of ruins it for everybody. And in this instance, I actually got the bike for free, and I actually buy bikes for like $100. And I can't get a title or anything like that because they don't believe me. So I got to pay a little bit extra for it, but worth it in this instance. So I've got my Vermont registration here, my registration application. I provided a NADA guides reference sheet for prices and how I determined that. I had this is just their fee chart here. And then another thing they would request, obviously got a bill of sale when you bought it. Another thing they would normally request, from my understanding, is a VIN verification. Now that would just be like ID, OD in some states, and wherever you're getting that from. Sometimes it'd be more involved. But with COVID, I got lucky because they weren't requiring that, because they didn't want anybody to have to go into any extra things to have more human interaction. So they actually waived, per their website, I checked it, they actually waived the VIN verification for the time being, meaning that was one less thing I needed to have. So, gather up all my documents here, and then some, but this is the core documents that I needed. You send that into Vermont, and you want to make sure that you get an actual tracking for the package that you send. So, you want to get the tracking because what I found is it's going to take some time. So I mailed these on January 21st of 2021. And I saw that, the payment was taken out. I provided the check, a physical check, because I can then see that the payment was taken out on February 23rd, meaning I now have a timeline to kind of work from. So I send my documents on January 21st, shows that they were delivered January 26th, and it took almost 1 full month for them to even just touch it. The first thing they're going to do is take out that payment and start processing it after that. So after February 23rd, I wait a couple weeks and I call and I eventually get an update on it, and they had been working on it. So everything went smooth on that end. And what happened was they sent me their Vermont registration along with a sweet Vermont license plate, which I don't even know where that's at right now. I think it's with the bike somewhere. But anyway, They went ahead and sent me the Vermont registration. Let me get a sheet here. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the important part. So this is basically what acts as your title. Now they're going to send this form along with a license plate in a different folder, and you have the sticker here, and this is your registration. Now on the back, notice of transfer of ownership. Okay, now this is the important thing. This is basically what acts as your title, is this single sheet right here. And this has all the information, your information that you input and that you give to the Vermont DMV. And from there, this piece of paper is the most important document that you can have. Don't worry about the license plate. You don't even really want to drive on it because you're going to be out of state anyway. So I drove on mine for a couple days just because I was getting the bike up and running, making sure everything was good. So anyway, you have all of your documents submitted. Vermont is, hopefully, if you did everything right in the first steps, they're going to send you this document right here. This is the important one. So this is, again, what you take to your local DMV to then transfer into your state. So for me, I submit this with not even a title application. It's just basically they're just re-registering it. So the ladies at my local DMV have been super helpful, super nice. I got very lucky, and I was very picky on who I dealt with. I dealt with them before. I just wanted to make sure I go in there and I'm smiling and I'm acting like a good guy and just like, you're my buddy. You guys are awesome, so you want them on your side. The only part that kind of came down to, let's say like human emotion, basically, I found they had to, whenever I went to do the title application, she had to actually physically call Vermont and just reconfirm that everything was good. Now, I don't know exactly what that meant. They said it was kind of a case-by-case basis. So that was the only part that worried me. So everything checked out on that end. I mean, they just call and be like, hey, I have this guy here. He's want to register this, make sure it's good in your system. They're like, good, I guess. And I can move forward. Now, to actually get that title, they had to do one more step. You have to get an IDOD in my state. Now, basically, a regular inspection is going to act as an IDOD because they have the VIN number and they have the odometer reading on one piece of paper. So you killed two birds with one stone in Missouri with that. So like I said, a regular inspection. I needed that anyway to get a Missouri plate to prove that it is in fact road legal. So my regular inspection worked for that. From there, it was good to go. It was pretty straightforward. Once you get to that point and they check you off and they're like, okay, I have a title application fee, okay, and then I have a registration fee for the license plate. I waited about a week and a half. I got my Missouri title. It really wasn't that bad. I'd seen this online for a long time, and this is the first time I tried it. Again, I used all of the information, all the videos I could find on cartitles.com. They have the dude on there is just cranking out videos on how to do this and answering questions. And that proved to be an invaluable source of information. So anyway, that's how we went from having a non-titled bike to having a titled, registered, plated, legal bike in the state of Missouri for me. So this thing's good to go. And obviously I have other costs associated with getting the bike up and going as far as getting the systems and getting the bike running and things like that. But as far as the legality side, I've got the Vermont registration fees of like $93.60. Then I had a $10 inspection. I had $33.83 in the title transfer or title application, $15.75 in registration for the plate, and then $22.73 in basically just FedEx, just to make sure I had tracking and good insurance on the information I was sending to Vermont originally. So I include that in the cost, absolutely. So altogether, for the free motorcycle that I got to get it legal, okay, now this is again not including the other costs associated with getting the bike running, was $175.91, and it took from January 21st when I mailed this to what is it right now? It's like April 12th or something right now. So it took up until now, it took that long, like 3 months. Now, COVID is obviously a big factor in that. On their website, they say, or Vermont says, it's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks. Well, it was like 8 weeks before they really did anything. So I'm not faulting them for that. Every time I called, I got somebody who was helpful on the phone. I got really lucky. Everybody was really nice. So just be patient, okay? Just be patient. Get all your ducks in a row. Do your research. Cross your T's and dot your lowercase J's. Like just do it right the first time. Maybe pay a little bit extra in tax, like I did. Just make them happy. They're providing you a service, so just do it. So anyway, super excited that I got a title this time because, if you guys are familiar, I also bought that CB750 for like $100, and that's a non-title bike. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try this process on that, and hopefully next year that's going to be my seasonal vintage cruiser. So yeah. So because I know everybody would be curious about this anyway, I'll let you into how much I have into this bike, going from a free motorcycle that sat for like 33 years or whatever to a legal, reliable vintage cruiser that I can now drive anytime I want, transferred into my name. Now, I spent a little bit extra money on, like, let's say aftermarket handlebars and grips and like a couple other little bits, like the turn signals. There was some extra stuff I didn't need in there, but I got the bike dialed into how I want. So anyway, we had to put tires on it. We had to do carb rebuilds, so we had like associated gaskets and carburetor parts and things like that. A lot of cleaning. Rebuilt the braking system, so we have rebuild kits for the calipers and the master cylinders, and we have a battery, an air filter. Like, we got a lot of nickel and dime stuff that adds up. So all in all, from a free bike to now, I've got just under $1,000 in this thing. Now, that's including the $22.73 to mail off my title application to Vermont. Like, this is including the first tank of fuel I put in it. So this is including everything, every cost associated with this bike, and that's not including labor. So whenever I go to sell this thing, I am going to have a little bit of a markup on it, but it's only worth so much, and I really don't want to spend any more on this thing because it does seem like I'd only ever be able to get so much in this thing. I'm not going to get rich on it, but makes a cool story, makes good content, get some information out to you guys, and it's just win-win-win for everybody. So anyway, yeah, from free to a fully titled legal bike, we're looking at just under $1,000 in this instance. So yeah, I hope you guys like this one. I know I packed a lot of information in it. Again, in the description, I'm going to have links to the cartitles.com website and maybe a couple of YouTube links to the videos that I specifically watched to help guide me through this. They should help you guys. Pay attention to them. Watch them like 18 times. He puts a lot of information in there for a reason, and it obviously helped because I did this first try and got it. So anyway, again, hope you guys like this one. Stick around. I hope you guys check out more of the videos. I have a wide variety of stuff going on here between custom builds and reviving old bikes and fabrication and rides and reviews. Who knows? I just got a bunch of stuff on here. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching and hope to see you in the next video.